On this first page of log logic, you should have gone through and just solved each of these problems. So for example, problem 1 is asking you for 2 to the third. If you don't know what 2 to the third is, you can type it into a calculator. Remember, it's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. 4 to the second power is 4 times 4, which is 16. 6 to the fifth power is 6 multiplied 5 times, which, if you type that in a calculator, it tells you it is 7,776, and so on. I'm going to let you finish this problem out. Okay, number 6, we have 2 to the x power equals 32. Your job is to figure out what that power is. So if you just start multiplying 2's and guessing at powers, you may have figured out that 2 to the fifth power equals 32. Which means that your x is going to equal 5. On number 7, you're going to do the same thing. 5 to the what power equals 125. Well, again, if you play around with your calculator, you will eventually figure out that 5 to the third power is 125. Same with this last one. 7 to the what power equals 117,649. Well, if you typed that into your calculator, you may have eventually figured out that 7 to the sixth power will equal that number. And again, I'm going to let you finish that section. Well, once you have that, this next section, I'm asking you, this first problem, number 11, is read log base 2 of 8. So I want to know what log base 2 of 8 is, and that one I gave you the answer, it's 3. Number 12, I asked you for the log base 4 of 16. Now, I told you that section 3 is related to sections 1 and 2. So if you look back at sections 1 and 2, you're looking for a problem that uses these same numbers. So for example, I see that I have a 4 and 16. And if you look at problem 2, you'll notice that we use the numbers 4 and 16. And the answer we get is 2. If you look at problem 13, which is read log base 6 of 7,776, well, somewhere in sections 1 and 2, we use those numbers. You're right, it was problem 3. We have the 6, we have the 7,776. The only number we're missing is the 5, and so on. Number 16 says the log base 2 of 32. You may have noticed that problem 6 uses the 2 and the 32, and the number that we were looking for was 5. Problem 17, we have log base 5 of 125. And that's going to match problem 7 right here, whose answer was 3. Problem 18, we have the log base 7 of 117,649. And notice we use those same numbers up here on problem 8, where we got the answer of 6. So keeping that in mind, you should now be able to finish that section as well. So this next question, how is section 3 related to sections 1 and 2? Well, if you look at section 3, you'll notice that each of these answers we got was the exponent in the problem. So you're going to want to write down that the answer was the exponent. Well, once you know that, you're ready to go ahead and do the next section, problems 21, 22, and 23, where you're filling in the blank. So problem 21, 10 to the first power gives us 10. Problem 22, 10 to the what power gives us 100. Well, we know that 10 to the second power is 100, so that means that log base 10 of 100 would equal 2. Number 23, 10 to the what power equals 1,000. Well, 10 to the third power equals 1,000, so log base 10 of 1,000 will equal 3. So my last question, explain what you think a logarithm does. We'll notice how for each problem that we just solved, when I solved the log, the answer was the exponent. So when we use a logarithm, it's because we are trying to solve for the exponent. So you should have written something about how you can use a log to solve for an exponent. Once you have that written down, in my next video, I'll go ahead and talk about the evaluating logs section of this assignment.